Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Toledo. My name is Ginny Gottman, and I am your service leader today. I am your Director of Lifelong Learning. With me is our worship associate, Sandra Kosick-Sills. On the piano, you will find our music director, Jeffrey Maxey. And in the back of the sanctuary, in the AV cubicle operating the levers, is our tech crew, Walter McGee, Jeff Slauson, and Andy Gottman. We are a non-denominational church without a specific creed or required beliefs. However, we do strongly believe in our 8 principles, 7 of which you can see listed in the rainbow bookmark in the pew rack in front of you. Please feel free to take one of these with you if you would like. Principle number 8 will be a cliffhanger. If you want to know what it is, you will have to ask one of us at coffee hour. These principles are the foundation of our faith to find our own spiritual path in the world and to help improve other people's lives while we're at it. If you are not on our mailing list, we encourage you to fill out the yellow card in the pew rack in front of you. Be sure to include your email so that we can send you our UUFYI, which is the best way to keep up with the things that are happening each week at Toledo Unitarians. Later in the service, I'll be inviting you to coffee and conversation, which is one of the perks of attending the service on a regular basis in person.
In many Unitarian Universalist churches, including ours, we light a chalice, a flame in a bowl that is a symbol of our faith. Shall we say the words for lighting our chalice together? The words will be on the screen. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. Together, we care for our earth and work for peace in our world. Please join me in reciting our covenant. The words can be found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
We are living in interesting times. Major news stories are coming daily, even hourly, and they can be overwhelming. The Russian government continues its attempts to seize the independent country of Ukraine. The Israeli government continues its attempts to seize Gaza and the West Bank. We grieve for the people who live in these lands who are unsafe in their own homes. We grieve the loss of tens of thousands of lives in a pointless pursuit of power. We hold the knowledge that both the Russian and the Israeli armies are comprised largely of young people who have no say in their leaders' decisions. We are heartened by the sight of the young people in college campuses across our country who are using their energy, their courage, and their anger to impact our world. Our country is currently turning a blind eye to atrocities, and this is not the first time. In 1994, our leaders stood aside as the Rwandan genocide raged, and in 1994, our college students weren't really protesting. Today they are, and we commend their fighting spirits. We also have worries in our own community: illness, injury, finances, family difficulties. Let those of us who are currently not burdened by worry to support and lift those who are in need, and let those of us who are in need allow our church family to provide support. Right now, we are here together. Right now, we draw comfort and peace from each other and from the knowledge that we are only one of many UU congregations working for peace, justice, and equity. Let us hold members, supporters, and friends of our congregation in our hearts and with our spirits this week. Let us be thankful that we are together in fact and in spirit. Though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong enough to keep hate out and hold love in. It is now time for our opening hymn. Children, those of you who are here in the sanctuary with us today, do all of you have a hymn scorecard? Good, 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 good. Does anybody not have a hymn scorecard? Please allow me to quickly mention that some of our kids are in here playing word bingo, so if you hear somebody yell bingo, that's what that is about. If you don't have a bingo card, feel free to come up and grab one. So it's that time of year again. The time when our church honors its religious education volunteers. This year, we have had many excellent people step forward to help teach the kids on Sundays. I have a marker if you want it. Perfect. Okay. So these new volunteers that we have are literally keeping our church going. Families need a spiritual home for their kids. Kids need a spiritual home. They have responsibilities today that you and I did not have when we were young, and they are very much in need of a community that exists solely to attend to their spirit. We, the adults, have put a burden on them just in the way that we have run the world. We've created some broken systems. It is right and necessary for us here in this room to help them carry that burden. So these are the kids volunteers that I would like for us to recognize. When you hear your name, please, if you would like to, stand up so that we can all see your faces. Tanya Walker, Gwen Wilson, Jesse McMahon, Lauren Getz, Sandra Kopsick-Sills, Arun Nataraja, Evelyn Cherry, Jan Glatzer, Marcia Gamble, Carol Kierlieber, Melanie Christensen, Krista Schneider, Terry Acox, and Clarice Knipe. Please, please give these awesome humans a round of applause and a huge thank you. I did not hear any thank yous. Yeah, thank you. At Toledo Unitarians, we have a ceremony called the Rexies, when all of our RE volunteers' names are put into a bowl and a winner is drawn at random. That winner pardon me, then becomes our program's king, queen, or non-binary monarch. As is the tradition, the volunteers' names are in here Hunger Games style. If you volunteered once, your name is in here once. If you volunteered twice, it's in here twice, etc. Last year, our winner was Sue Childers. Sue, do you want to come up and join us? Come on up. Use our new handrail, that's right. Last year, Sue received this lovely gold crown, which I then took away from her to use at the Christmas pageant. This year's winner will have the option of temporarily possessing a gold crown or receiving this t-shirt, which reads, First Unitarian Universalist Church of Toledo. That is not the name of our church. And I believe that this t-shirt was not mass-produced for that reason. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who might know. And so you might have the opportunity to win a one-of-a-kind piece of merchandise.
Collector's item.
A collector's item. This will pay for your kids' college. If I draw a name and the Rexy is not here this morning, I will accept this crown and badge or t-shirt on their behalf and award it to them as soon as possible. Are we ready? All right, Sue, pick our new Rexy. The Rexy this year is Marcia Gamble. Marcia! Rexy does not stand for anything. It's RE for religious education, and then Rex because it's, the king or queen. The crown transfer?
As much as I hate to give this up.
Very nice.
Marcia, would you like the t-shirt as well? She said that's all right, but she wept as she said it. Kids, when you are finished rating your hymn, please just hold on to it and I'll take it from you at coffee hour, okay? Thank you.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll
right, beautiful song. Thank you, Jeffrey. We invite you now into prayer and meditation with a poem from our Queen. Following this reading, we will observe a minute of silence for personal contemplation or prayer before singing the reflection hymn. Be at peace, tempest-tossed seas of soul, give me rest from doubt and fear. Sun, find my face. Light, find my heart. Song, find my story. Smile, find my face. Be at peace, be at peace, for my life is finite, and these storms have raged too long. Even winter must surrender spring. Let's observe 1 minute of silence.
Please join us in singing hymn number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
Now for our reading, the zebra question by Shel Silverstein. I asked the zebra, are you black with white stripes or white with black stripes? And the zebra asked me, are you good with bad habits or are you bad with good habits? Are you noisy with quiet times? Or are you quiet with noisy times? Are you happy with some sad days? Or are you sad with some happy days? Are you neat with some sloppy ways? Or are you sloppy with some neat ways? And on and on and on and on and on he went. I'll never ask a zebra about stripes again.
So, darling children, I have a question for you. Can anyone tell me what a life cycle is? Amaya. When you are a little kid, you become an adult, and then when you are an adult, you have a little kid, and then that little kid becomes an adult. That is what a life cycle is. Yes, thank you, Amaya. A frog's life cycle goes egg, tadpole, froglet, frog. A bird's life cycle goes from egg to hatchling to chick to adult. Well, a person named James Fowler came up with a sort of a life cycle about faith or religion. And like many adults do, he gave these stages incredibly long and complicated names, like primal undifferentiated faith and intuitive projective faith. And that is a very cool thing to read about. And if anyone wants to fill their brains with those big words, I have his book and you can borrow it. We are not using his words today. Instead, we are using the words of a UU religious educator named Joy Berry, which is awesome because Joy has given these stages one-word names, and all of the names rhyme. Joy has also drawn up a really beautiful graphic, and I know it might be hard to see here in the sanctuary today, but I have plenty of copies of it, and they will be at coffee hour if anybody would like to take one. The faith cycle, according to Joy, goes: faith is caught, faith is taught, faith is bought, faith is sought, faith is wrought. So the life cycles that we talked about, the birds and the frogs, those sort of create circles. The stages of faith development create more of a spiral because people don't have to only go in one direction with it. They can also go back and revisit stages they've been in before. The stages of faith development are not climbed like a ladder, they're more wandered through like a garden. We are going to talk about those parts of the faith landscape, and I'm going to give examples of the stages of faith as I went through them. I grew up in a Baptist family, so that was the faith that I was learning. Your experience might be, or might have been, very different. In stage 1, faith is caught. And it's caught sort of like you catch a cold. So nobody walks up to you and says, "Here you go, Asani, here's my cold, I'm giving it to you." It doesn't go like that. When you catch a cold, the cold is just sort of around you, you don't see it, and then all of a sudden, before you are even aware of it, it's inside you. That's how we catch our faith. We do this when we're very young, starting at about age 2 or 3 and going up to about age 7. We catch it by living with and watching the people close to us. I caught my Baptist faith by seeing and doing the things that my Baptist family did. I saw my brother get married in a church. We put ornaments on the Christmas tree. I also absorbed some very vague ideas like God is love, and Papa died and went to heaven. I didn't understand what it all meant, but I did pick it up along with all the other things that I was picking up. At this stage, we're not learning any complicated religious ideas. It's more like we're sort of clearing off a shelf in our brains where the religious knowledge will go. In the second step, around ages 6 to 12, faith is taught. This is when kids start actively learning the components of their religion, and they're also learning to understand the difference between real and pretend. And by learning specific things, I'm talking about going to church and being taught. Yes, have fun with it. I'm talking about going to church and being taught about your religion. When I was going through this stage, I memorized some Bible verses. I learned that Jesus died for my sins. I learned that not everyone is Baptist. Some people are Methodist. Little Alabama joke there. We begin to understand our church teachings a little bit. I learned that some things that we do are not just wrong, they are sins. And then some things we do are sins, even though they really don't seem all that wrong. Like, for example, I learned that playing cards was against my religion. And I was in violation of the Lord's word every time I played Go Fish in my class. So I learned some of the beliefs of my religion, but I was not able to make sense of it then. In the third phase, faith is bought. We buy into it. This phase starts at about age 13 or so and lasts roughly until around age 18 or so. This is the time when people really start thinking deep thoughts about their religion. They're thinking about right and wrong, how the world works, what our place in the world is. At this age, we really, really want the world to make sense. We tend to be deep believers in authority, and we are trying hard to figure out rules and order and justice. We have a strong need to belong to a group. This is why teenagers are so influenced by their friends. We might need to belong to a faith group too. Sometimes we find a new faith to belong to, but usually we stick with the faith that we were raised in. We begin to really, ooh, you okay, Sugar Plum? Yes. We begin to really understand the things that we learn about our religion, and we can also realize that some of the stories we learn in our faith aren't supposed to be really true. They're just supposed to sort of be about the truth. We can see some of the plot holes in our faith, and we try to explain those in a way that keeps us faithful to the religion that we identify with. For example, at this age, I was a Baptist, and I believed in evolution. So I would be prone to say things like, yes, God created the world, but it was not actually in 7 days. Those 7 days are symbolic. We can see the stages of creating the world through the fossil record, and through half-lives, and through evolution, and through evolutionary evidence. I believed in Jesus, but I didn't actually believe that God was his biological father. I thought that that was more of a symbolic story about there being a God who loves us and takes care of us. I had bought Christianity. I thought of myself as being very religious, although by Alabama standards, I was probably only so-so. I knew, of course, about Jews and Hindus and Buddhists and atheists, and that was great, and I was Christian. I mentioned earlier that this stage of our faith starts at about age 13 and lasts to roughly around age 18. This is not true of everyone. Sometimes people continue to find a lot of comfort in the idea of rules and authority and submission and living by a set of principles that are different from our own. There are some religions that really focus on rules and obedience and punishment and rewards and heaven and hell and obeying people no matter what. So some people might stay in this little part of the faith garden for their entire lives. In stage 4, faith is sought. This phase isn't really tied to a particular age, but it is common for it to take up the entirety of your 20s at a minimum. This phase is all about thinking and asking questions. And at this phase, we are really digging at the roots of our faith, and we're looking critically at what we see, even in ways that might challenge or destabilize the faith that we belong to. We might question our deference to religious authority. We might think things like, well, who wrote that translation of the Bible, and how is it different from this other translation of the Bible? How do we know which one is more right? At my church, we used the King James Version of the Bible. But King James was Scottish, but he was also the head of the Church of England. And then the Church of England didn't like Catholics, but King James's mother was Catholic, but King James was Protestant. But he commissioned this Bible, and also people said then that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, but the only actual descriptor she gets in the Bible is sinner, so why is she called a prostitute when all the men who sinned are just sinners? And why should I, 2,000 years later, follow the teachings of some intolerant monks in 1611 who were translating the Bible by candlelight and telling people to throw witches in the river? Our thoughts about faith at that age tend to be highly focused on ourselves. What makes sense to me? And if we dig up the roots of our faith and we don't like what we see, we tend to leave. That doesn't work for me. I don't want this. I'm out of here. I am forging my own path. I can tell you from my own experience that I left Christianity at about the age of 30. I dug at the roots and didn't like what I saw. In stage 5, our faith is rot. Who knows what the word rot means? Not with an R, but with a W. Yes?
Firmed up.
Firmed up. Yes. Rot is sort of an archaic word. It is a past tense of work, meaning things that are molded and strengthened. Like, for example, wrought iron. Does anybody have any wrought iron in their house? I'm sure you probably do. Wrought iron is heated up, hammered out, stretched, bent, twisted, heated up again, folded, changed. And all of this heat and working actually makes the iron stronger. It helps release the iron of its impurities. At this stage, we begin to approach wisdom. We begin to realize that we are all in this soup together, and nobody owns morality. Our bonds to other people in our community tend to become very strong, although not rigid. We might be able to better discuss philosophy and religion with people different from us, and to keep an open mind. People at this stage tend to be comfortable in the knowledge that some things might never make complete sense to us. Fowler has a stage 6 that we're not going to talk about today. That stage is for people like the Dalai Lama and Jesus, and we are not there yet. So if this is the first time that you are hearing about the stages of faith development, you might be thinking what I thought the first time I learned about the stages of faith development. I thought, I am so good at this. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I think I might be able to see Jesus from where I am. I'm doing an excellent job at life. Sadly, research indicates that people usually rate themselves and their own stage of faith development generously. We Unitarian Universalists can sometimes make the mistake of thinking that our way of thinking is not just different from, but superior to others. And we can also tend to think that the world might be a lot better if other people thought more like we do, which is an appallingly narrow-minded thing to think. For example, this is a true story. Roughly 20 years ago, I was in a meeting with a bunch of people, and for a variety of stupid reasons, I began to really harshly judge one of those people and thinking, man, I'm doing life a lot better than this guy. And then he casually mentioned that whenever it snowed, he went over to his parents' house before work and dug out their driveway and their sidewalk. You might have heard the expression, I felt so small. I genuinely felt my soul shrink, and I felt my self-esteem become recalibrated really quickly. It deflated like a basketball. So, learn from my stupid experience. Try not to judge people so easily, not as easily as I did. So you know how I mentioned that our faith journeys are sort of like a spiral, and sometimes we go back and revisit stages that we were in previously. Sometimes we need to go all the way back to the very beginning and relearn the basics like God is love. Whatever God is love. Even if you've written down and learned all the big words, it's good to be able to go back and relearn the very smallest ones. God is love. Love is at the center. Blessed be.
And now is the time for the morning offering. We depend on your contributions to be able to offer our vibrant programs and outreach. We don't pass the plate, but there are several ways you can give. You may aim your phone at the QR code that you see on the slide. We'll give you a few moments to get your phone and aim it, and if you are joining us in our online community and our recorded version of the sermon, you may pause in order to take the time to get the QR code. Or you can go to uutoledo.org, click on Give, and then Online Giving. Or you can mail a check to 3205 Glendale, Toledo, Ohio, 43614. On the back of the pews, you'll find an envelope in which you may place your donation to drop it in the basket at the entrance of the sanctuary. And we also accept donations by Venmo, which is at First Unitarian Church, Toledo. Thank you.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing, there's a river flowing, there's a river flowing in my soul.
This coming Saturday, May 4th, we will have a crafting party for kids ages 6 through 12 where we will make Mother's Day gifts. All are welcome, so please feel free to invite any kids that you know. The party will be in Fellowship Hall, pardon me, from 2:30 to 5 o'clock, and if you have any questions, please grab me or email me. Our Mother's Day flower sale is happening right now. Order your extra large, beautiful hanging baskets, proceeds to benefit our church. The sale will go on until, pardon me, mercy. The sale will go on until next Saturday, May 5th. All the items can be picked up here at church, and you can choose then the arrangement that you want. The cost is $30 per basket. Make checks payable to First Unitarian Church of Toledo, or Venmo at First Unitarian Church Toledo. And with both of these methods, please put the words flower sale in the memo line. Many questions have come up about recycling in the new city composting program. We will have a guest speaker next Sunday, May 5th for Spiritual Forum from Keep Toledo, Lucas County Beautiful. There will be time for questions, so this is your chance. Write down all of your questions and be sure to attend next Sunday. The sermon next week is titled Unitarian Universalists Around the World and will be delivered by Reverend Tim.
Immediately after today's service, join us for coffee hour and partake in refreshments and conversation. And it smells like there's some good stuff over there today. Visitors especially, come and be a part of our community. And now time for closing words. Our closing words are from Muhammad Ali. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential, impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing.
Please join me in reading the words to extinguish our flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.